So can we start?
Yes, start.
Is my screen visible to all?
We can see the not the presentation. We can see your slides. Yes, now we can see.
Yeah, I'll be using Canvas. And okay, so we'll be starting the lab session. And today's lab session will discuss something about K4 cross validation, grid search, and followed by logistic regression and deny based classifier using sklearn. So the first thing that I would uh, like to ask to all of you is, let's say I come up and give you a data set, and let's say it's a data set that analyzes consumer shopping behavior. I give you a data set and I ask you to maybe fit a k nearest neighbor model and give me back the model after training on the data. So what will your approach be? Anyone? So you have a data set that I have given, and I told you that you have to, let's say, just like a nearest neighbor. Guys, uh, anyone? Okay, so
Sir, we will find the distance of the given point with all the data points and then arrange it in ascending order and then find the.
okay, okay, and any other answers? What happened to the other guys? Well, the approach is will be somewhat related to what answer was given. That you need to find the, just like the k nearest neighbor works, you need to find the distance and then try to do the classification. But there is a small catch while doing it in the real world, while trying it experimentally. So this data set that you have, suppose if suppose that you train on all the samples that are present. You train on all the samples, and after that you will see a very good result. So let's say you are getting 100% accuracy. You train on all the data sets, and then you just do a model.predict, and after that you calculate your accuracy score. So let's say you get 100% accuracy, and then you will tell me that okay, we have a KNN model that we fit on our data that is receiving 100% accuracy. So is this a correct approach? It turns out that this approach that we discussed previously is not a correct approach. And the first thing that you do when you get a data set or when you're trying to work on any real world data set is to first divide the data set into two parts. One is a train set and the other will be a test. Once you divide this data set, what you have to do is you have to pick the data set of testing, and you will not you have to make sure that you do not consider any samples from the test set during your model fitting, model analysis, or any sort of thing. So no information should go from test set to the train set. And in case you make a model in which the information from test set is rallied onto the train set, if the information goes from the train set to test set, then this problem is known as leakage. This is very common when trying to work with a real world data set. Now, when you have a train set with you, the next thing you want to do is use up the train set to fit the model and to see how the performance is the model. Let's say we are discussing about KNN. So in KNN, the value of K, what is the most optimal value of K that you can choose for a data set? Yes, somebody was trying to, yeah? Yes, somebody.
Sir, we need to iterate upon some of the values and chooses the value. After taking that value, there is significant increase in accuracy. We will take that value using elbow point method.
Okay. Yes, I get that. So this approach that you have said, will it not be very similar to the problem of leakage that we were discussing earlier? Because now what happens is you have a train set. Okay, you can say that, okay, I am working on the train set and I am not using any samples or any information from the test set. Fine, that's okay. Now you have the train set. You fit your k nearest neighbors to give 100% accuracy on the train set. Let's say k is equal to 10. This thing gives you 100% accuracy on the train set. So should I consider that this k is equal to 10 is the most optimal value of k? Are you guys able to get what I'm get the question that I'm raising over here?
So in which cases leakage can happen?
The leakage happens when you have any information that you pass from the test set to the train set. Yes.
That means we are all the points that we have distance are showing 100.
Shachi, your voice is breaking.
So we'll also see the performance on the test set, right?
Okay. So if you want to see the performance of the test on the test set, then it will be equivalent to saying that you have a semester exam and you prepare for a semester exam by looking at the questions that are going to come in the semester exam. So that will lead to leakage because you are already looking at the performance in the test set. So it turns out that we will, yes, we do need to look at the performance at a test set, but that test set is not this test set we are talking about. This is separate. We will not consider this. What we will do is we will separate this train set further into let's say I call this a final train set and a validation set. So all the samples from the train set, you divide it into two parts. In some ratio, let's say we divide into 80 to 20. Like 80% of the entire training samples go into the final train set and 20% become your validation set. Now what you do, you iterate for different values of k, like 1, 2, 3, up to whatever you want. On this final train set, you iterate it, and for each value of k, you check what is the validation score. So for k is equal to 1, I'll check the validation score. For k is equal to 2, I'll check the validation score, and so on. And I will choose the value of k that gives the best validation score. So this validation data, this acts as some kind of an approximation for your test data. And there are different ways on how we do this division of train and validation. So what I explained just now is that you have a train set and you divide it into two parts, final train and validation. So you do it, you perform this one time, like this division was one time. It turns out you can repeat this same method. You can repeat this k times. And this method is known as k-fold validation method or k-fold cross validation method, whatever you can call it. What we are essentially, let's say, I want to do a 5-fold cross validation. I want to do a 5-fold validation. So what I'm going to do is I have my set of training samples. I have a set of training samples and I divide it into 5 parts. And in the 5 parts, in the very first iteration, I will keep one part as, let's say, so this is the data set that has been divided into 5 parts. I will keep this part 1 for validation and use all the part 4 for training. This is for validation. Now, yes, is somebody trying to say something?
Yes, sir. So,
Yeah.
can you say the difference in purpose of validation set and the testing set?
Can we say what?
The difference in purpose, sir. I mean, the purpose for taking validation set and the purpose of taking test set.
Test set. Okay. Yeah. See, when you got the data, you divided into a train set and a test set. Now you cannot evaluate on the test set, because if you do that, if you take any information from the test set, that would cause leakage. So you don't want to utilize the test set. Now what you will do, you will simply, now you have to still train the data, still train the model, and you have to check how each particular value of k is performing on the model. So how will you do that? So in order to do that, what we are trying to do is from the train data itself, from the final train set that we had, we will separate out certain part of the data, which we will use it for validating how each value of k is. So you have a training set and you divide it into two parts, train and validation. You train it on this particular thing, this particular samples, you train it on them, and you try to see what is the accuracy in your validation set. So you try to see it for k is equal to 1, for k is equal to 2. And after that, whatever value of k is giving the best accuracy in the validation set, we choose that.
But then what's the use of training in the training set in case of KNN? Because there is nothing called training in KNN, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, I was trying to just take it as an example. So you can, let's say, for different type of a classifier, you can do that, where you need to uh, check for what each classifier has a different, all have their own hyperparameters. So what type of classifiers, hyperparameters are good for your current, will be good for the given data, like that. KNN is just an example.
So just to intervene, in case of KNN, what you can do is as follows. As you correctly said, there is no training phase as such in KNN. So in the KNN, what you can do is using the validation set, you can try out the performance for a particular value of k, and say
Yeah.
and then suppose that performance is not good, then you try a different value of k and so on. So like you can use the validation set basically to converge on on some value of k.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Yeah. So use the validation set to take the values of k. So we were talking about fivefold cross validation. In this, what you do is you divide the data set. So this is in the iteration 1. Part 1 of the data set was used for validation. Now we are going to iteration 2, where we will have parts 1, 3, 4, and 5 for training, and we will choose part 2 for validation. Similarly, we will go in iteration 3, where I will choose part 3 for validation and parts 1, 2, 4, 5 for training. And similarly, in iteration 4, I will have part 4 of the data that will go for validation. And the rest of the parts is 1, 2, 3, and 5 for training. And in iteration 5, I will have part 5 that goes for validation and all the parts from 1 to 4 for training. And in each of the iteration, you find out the accuracy. So this is accuracy in iteration 1. This is accuracy in iteration 2. And you will get an accuracy in iteration 3, accuracy in iteration 4, accuracy iteration 5. And finally, what you want to do is you want to calculate the average accuracy for a particular value. Like let's say for k is equal to 1, you calculate average accuracy. For k is equal to 2, you do that. And whatever value of k that gives maximum average accuracy, you choose that. This is just a fivefold validation. Some of So these were some of the very basic things that I have in my today's code. So I just wanted to explain that. And so now let's go back to the code. So if you go on to the lab folder in the MS Teams, there is a folder with today's date, and I have uploaded the Python notebook over there. So its title is sklearn pipeline with DNB and logistics. So we'll start by just loading some of the modules that are required for today's lab session. So first we'll try to load some of the data sets that we have. And then we have some functions which I will explain later on what each function does. So I'll give the demonstration about breast cancer dataset. So this breast cancer dataset is a binary classification dataset. You have two labels, 0 and 1. Whereas in the file that I have uploaded, I have the demonstration of wine dataset that has 3 classes. So that way you could get an idea of both binary and multi-class classification problems. So guys, did you start this Python notebook? Guys, could you find the Python notebook in MS Teams?
Yes, fine.
Yeah, so are you running it along with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah, sure. What I would suggest is you create a separate Python notebook in a new tab and try to just type in the codes yourself, looking at the notebook that I've shared. Okay, so if you are ready, then I'll start the coding. So the
Sir,
first
which
step,
data
yeah.
set we are using for this?
So, right now, I am giving a demo on breast cancer dataset.
Sir,
So,
is that data set available in files?
yeah, it is available in sklearn in scikit-learn. So that's what I'm going to tell you right now. If you look at the very first line of the Python notebook that I've shared, or even at the screen, you have a package sklearn.datasets, and from there you need to import the function load underscore breast underscore cancer. Once you do that, we will try to call the function load underscore breast underscore cancer. And once you have done it, loaded the data set, try to see what is the what are the number of samples and the number of features that you have. So the data set that we just loaded in the data variable, if you try to print it, then it is a dictionary that contains keys as data and target names, and also there are many other parameters for the particular data set. And we require the data part of it, which will be your X matrix, and the target, which will be your Y matrix. So just try to type the code data.data.shape and data.target.shape just to see how many samples and features you have. So how many samples and features you have in the current breast cancer data set? Yes, yes. Somebody trying to say something? Yes, Abhishek, are you trying to say something?
So by samples you mean the number of examples or rows, right?
So in this breast cancer data set, the samples, if you try to just look at the shape of the data, you will find that you have 569 samples and 30 features. Now, what we'll do is the first thing that I explained in the just a few minutes ago is divide the data into train and test data set. First, you acquire the data that you have in a variable X, then the target values in a variable Y, and then you have this function train underscore test underscore split. So this function train underscore test underscore split is available in the package sklearn.model selection. Within sklearn, there is a package known as model selection, and from there you import this train underscore test underscore split. So this within this train underscore test underscore split, you pass your X and Y, the matrices X and Y, and you specify how much of the sample you want to keep as a test set, which I have specified as 10%. So out of the entire 569 samples, 10% will be kept as your final test set. And once you do that, just check what is the shape of the final training data that you have and what is the shape of the final testing data that you have. Can anybody tell me what is the shape of the final training and testing data?
Train shape is 5 1. Yes, sir. This only is coming. What you're showing on the screen.
Yeah, yeah. Are you, are all of you getting the same thing, right? Or is somebody having any issues with this particular piece of code? Okay, fine. So the next thing is, now once we have the train data and we leave out the test data for the very final prediction. Now what we want to do is we want to do a k-fold cross validation. And to do that, the functions that are present in the sklearn are like are called as the simple one. The simplest one is the k-fold, and you have another version of it known as stratified k-fold. You can import any of them. You import it, and after that, just do a initialization. Let's say fold underscore series. Within the k-fold, you specify what is the value of k you are going to use. So I am using 5. That is, I'm trying to do a 5-fold cross validation, like we saw earlier in the example. Now, once you were able to do this, the next thing is, since we will be using the we'll be using logistic regression classifier for this current task. So the next thing would be to initialize the logistic regression classifier. So for initializing logistic
Excuse me,
regression,
sir.
yeah.
Sir, what is the difference between both of these functions, k-fold and stratified k-fold?
Yeah, okay, I'll just see. Now you are working on a binary classification task in which you have labels as 0 and 1. So what normal k-fold will do, it will just look at your X matrix or X data set, and it will separate out the data set into certain folds. Okay, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, and fold 1 is kept as validation. But what k-fold doesn't look into is the labels. So what do I mean by that is, in your there can be a mismatch in the number of in the proportion of labels that is being divided in the training set and the test set. So it might happen that when you have the training set, it might happen that the label 0, samples with label 0 are mostly present. The proportion of this samples with label 0 is more, but in the validation set, the proportion of samples with label 0 is less. So stratified k-fold stratification or stratified k-fold avoids that, and it makes sure that the proportion of samples of each label is similar in training as well as the validation set.
Okay.
So if you use uh, stratified k-fold, then you will get more unbiased estimate of whatever you are trying to do. And if you don't want to use, you can just use k-fold cross validation. That's it. Yeah, and then from sklearn, you have a package linear underscore model, and from there you import logistic regression, and you just initialize logistic regression. If you do not pass anything in the logistic regression class, then you'll just use all the default values. But it comes with a lot of hyperparameters that we'll discuss now. The first thing that we can look at is, let's just if you try to look at the documentation of logistic regression in sklearn, you will see the different types of parameters that it takes up. And these are the parameters that you need to iterate over during your k-fold cross validation, so that you choose the parameters that is optimal for you based on your data set. Parameters are, the first is the penalty parameter, like whether you want to use L1 regularization or L2 regularization or elastic net regularization. And then you have the value of C, which is the inverse of lambda that was taught in class. Then you have the intercept value that you can also specify. Intercept scaling is that. And you have class weight. You can also specify the weights of each class. And then you have a solver, which is like there are different techniques for solving. So mostly this is not this one won't be changed much. So you just keep it as default. And then it's the maximum number of iterations you want to run the algorithm for. And these are some parallel processing parameters that you can pass. So logistic regression, and so we'll currently just give the default setting, everything in there. So once you do it, once you initialize the logistic regression, you can see there is a code that states about a class called as pipeline. Are you guys able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in one of the previous lab sessions, you guys were taught about data normalization. And it is a very, what can you say, an effective data processing technique that you can use before using any classifier or any regressor. So given the data set, you try to normalize it. I have a data set that we had over here. So now we will try to do a normalization, or you can also call it as scaling. After this, I want to pass it to the classifier. And again, during normalization, the same rule applies, that there should not be no leakage. I mean, there should not be leakage. No leakage. And one approach to this would be that you by yourself try to code everything. You try to do the normalization and you write your code for k-fold cross validation. The other option is to just use whatever classes are available in sklearn, and pipeline is one such class that can convert all these steps in a machine learning workflow in one single pipeline. So the very first element of this pipeline that you are seeing is a tuple containing the class standard scaler. So standard scaler is for scaling your X matrix. And after scaling or after doing normalization, what I want to do is I want to pass it to the classifier. So the classifier is the logistic regression classifier. And you have to mention it within this pipeline. So sklearn will automatically do the scaling, then transform your data, and then pass it on to the next class that you have mentioned, which over here is the logistic regression class. So pipeline comes with certain type of rules that you need to follow, and not every class could be inserted into a pipeline, but for the current scenario that we are looking into, this works pretty fine. So just initialize the pipeline with your standard scaler and then your logistic regression classifier. The next thing that I would want to specify, as you can see over here, is a dictionary called as param grid. And what that does is, now we have a number of parameters, or you can also call it as hyperparameters, that affect the performance of the model. So you can have a hyperparameter 1 that can take on a range of values. Similarly, you can have a hyperparameter 2 that can take a range of values. And you can have lots of hyperparameters that can take a various range of values. So what param grid does is, it is a dictionary in which you specify the hyperparameter name and the range of values that you want to iterate over. So for this current logistic regression classifier, what I have done is, the range of values that I have chosen is L1 and L2 regularization. Whether which one would be better for us, that's what I have chosen. I can also add some more. I can also add some more hyperparameters. Let's say, okay, could you guys suggest what hyperparameters should we try to look into during k-fold cross validation? You can look into this user manual, or you can just look into the code also I have written over there. You have
Can we
various.
give penalty, sir?
Can we give what? Penalty? Yeah.
Penalty, sir. L1, L2.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I have already given L1 and L2. Next. Okay, from penalty, are you meaning the weightage that this penalty should get?
No, sir, just penalty.
Okay, you can also specify the weightage that the penalty parameter should get. So, which is written over here in terms of C. So you can specify, let's say 1 is by default, so I'm specifying 1. And you can have, let's say 0.75, you can also have 0.50. This becomes a parameter grid. Now, for each particular, so you have some range of all these hyperparameters, and for each particular combination, you need to do a k-fold cross validation. And the way we do it in sklearn is using this grid search CV class. So this particular technique, in which you look out for each particular combination of the hyperparameters you have given, is known as grid search. This is known as grid search, and that's what we are going to do, grid search CV. And this class is available in sklearn.model selection. So you initialize the class, and in grid search CV, you pass on the pipeline that you just initialized. You pass on the parameter grid, and you also pass on what kind of k-fold cross validation you are using. So let's say I want to use k-fold cross validation with 5 splits. I will pass this on. That earlier we initialized. So it is k fold underscore CV. And if you want to do parallel processing, just n underscore jobs, you pass it as -1, so it will use up all the scores that are available in your PC. Initialize this. Once you initialize this, call the fit function on the on the training data set that you got earlier. So X train and Y train, pass it on to that. And it will take
Hello,
some
sir.
time. Yeah.
So could you repeat once again what you told about n jobs? What is that?
N jobs. Okay. So if
Yes.
you want to run it in a parallel fashion, so just give n jobs as -1. If you give it as -1, it will use all the processor cores that are available in a system. If you have 4 cores, then it will run 4 jobs parallelly for this grid search.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, and then just do a search.fit. So you will get some result like this. Now from this, we want to get the parameters that give the best average accuracy in your k-fold cross validation. So in order to do that, call this attribute within the grid search CV class, which is best underscore score. So search.best underscore, and after that there is an underscore that gives you the best score that has been received. And the best params will give you the best parameters that were found during cross validation. So for me, it is penalty L2. I'm talking about best parameters. Penalty is L2, and the value of C is 0.5. Are you guys able to get this till here? Were you guys able to do the grid search? Yes, Shachi, you wanted to say something? Anybody having any problems till now in the particular code?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Abhishek.
Yes, sir. Actually, in the search, when we are running search feed, na, sir, so there I am getting error, sir, something traceback error, some
What
value
is
error
the
also.
what is the error are you getting?
Sir, invalid parameter LGR underscore C for estimator pipeline.
Yes. Okay. You have written LDR single underscore. Just make it LGR double underscore C. So this is the particular way, the syntax that you need to follow if you want to do grid search using this pipeline. So LGR is the name of for the logistic regression class, and if you want to specify range of a particular parameter, you need to specify LGR double underscore that parameter. So guys, now when the grid search is complete, you will see that the questions that we raised initially, that which parameter should we choose, or what are the hyperparameter values or the hyperparameter combination that should be taken for the particular data set, you will see that you will have an answer to that. The next step would be to again just initialize the same pipeline, but this time in the classifier, you mention the parameters that you obtained from the grid search. So I obtained penalty as L2, so I will specify penalty as L2. And I will also specify the value of C as 0.5, which I received from the grid search, and initialize the pipeline again. Once you initialize the pipeline with these best parameters, you just need to do one more thing, and that would be to fit it again on the train data. So just do a fitting, and once the fitting is done, the job of training your model is complete. Now you are rest assured that there is no leakage because you have used k-fold cross-validation, and you can also be assured that you are looking at the very best hyperparameters because you have used grid search, and then you have fitted on the training data. So the best possible training that you can do has already been done. So now just do a prediction and check the accuracy score. So what is the accuracy you are getting? Yeah, the prediction, final prediction should be done on the final test set. That is the step where you include the final test set. Other than that, you do not include it in any sort of analysis. So do a prediction on the x underscore test that you got while doing the train test split. And yeah. You get the accuracy. Yes, guys, anybody having any issues or anybody would like to share their results or any other doubts they might have?
So with the previous pipe function also I'm getting 1 accuracy.
In the test set?
Previous function where we didn't give any, where we use the default parameters of the log logistic regression.
Yeah, okay. So in that also you are getting accuracy as 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so that might well be possible because it is a very small data set, having just 569 samples with 30 features. So yeah, you could get that. But it's always better to do a grid search rather than going with the default parameter. Because this is just a toy data set that you're using. In the real world where you have more complex data sets, without a grid search, you won't be able to get a very good classifier.
Sir?
Yeah?
Other than improving the accuracy, are there any other benefits of grid search, sir?
See, whenever you train a classifier or whenever you are building a classifier or a regressor, you will have lots of hyperparameters that can affect the model. Like what should be the value of the regularization term that you are giving, or for KNN, what should be the value of K, and for logistic regression, you have many other things like the tolerance value that we did not look into, and we also have the value of intercept. So basically, the combination of hyperparameters that you would have in a classifier in a real scenario would be very large, and the best way to narrow in on the best possible hyperparameters is using a grid search. You can also do it manually. You can also do a hit and trial or a brute force thing. But again, doing it manually is not recommended because you might miss on some very good hyperparameter combinations. That's why we use it first.
Sir,
Yes, Gaurav.
so I was running a line that search fit explain everything, and I'm getting a user warning.
What is the warning?
One or more of the test scores are non-finite.
Yes, I'm
Hmm,
also getting same warning.
okay. Not sure why that is happening.
So actually, I was running that second file. You have opened the first file now. I was running the second file.
Second file. Which one? Can you name the classifier that you are using?
KNN classifier.
Are you using CNN? Okay.
Yes, sir. This line. Line 26. Yes.
I don't think we should be getting that warning because I'm not getting that warning. So what is your parameter grid that you're searching on? Is it the same code that is over here?
Yes, sir. It is the same.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Maybe you can just post it in the chat. I will see why it's happening because it's not happening in my case. So there might be some other issue.
Yes, I have sent it in the chat.
Okay, you are getting NaN. That means there might be some error while doing the data distribution. Yeah. Anyway, I'll check it out. I'll check it out and let you know. And within the same, so now there is one more classifier that we want to cover, and that would be naive bias. So within the same framework of grid search, pipeline, and K for cross validation, we just need to invoke a variant of the naive bias classifier and give an appropriate parameter grid over which we want to search and just run this same code over again. So that would give you your Gaussian or let's say any other variant of naive bias classifier which has been trained on your data without any defect. So I would like you guys to just try out on the naive bias classifier. For looking into the parameters of the naive bias classifier, you might just try and go to the SQL documentation. You have different types of naive bias. I have given in the code that I had shared, I have used Gaussian naive bias. Guys, just try it out and see what you are getting. And anybody else who is getting this type of error in KNN classifier?
Sir, I'm getting the same error in logistic regression one, sir. May I post the screenshot in the chat?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Let's see. Let me try it out again. See what happens. Yes. Anybody wants to say something? Have you guys done those who are getting this type of error? Just try to check your train test split and the way you are loading the data set. I think if you do that properly, then there should not be any issue.
I'm also not getting, sir, this error. I'm not getting.
You are getting the error or you are not getting the error?
No, sir, I'm not getting the error. I'm saying. Actually, sir, the file you have shared and the file which you are using, there are some differences. So actually, I made the changes with as you going on the code, but maybe they have not made the changes required. So maybe that's why the error is
But
coming.
even in that case, there should not be any issues. You can just check it out. Yeah, so logistic regression for this breast cancer data set doesn't give any issue. Same goes for KNN for breast cancer data set. Let's see the original one. And the original, I did not get any error in the original wine data set also. Guys, are you trying the naive Bayes algorithm? Anyone? Were you able to run it? Guys, anybody who tried the knife bias, Gaussian knife bias?
There are only two parameters, so
Yeah.
and it's better not to change priors also because priors would adjust itself according to the data.
Okay. So one of them would be the prior, and what is the other one?
Variance smoothing.
Variance smoothing. Okay. Yeah, smoothing. Okay. Yeah. So you can just let it be. Or if you get a data and somehow you have a prior knowledge, then you can just give the prior probability over here. If you don't have any, then better not to. Or you can,
So by
yeah,
priors, you mean the probability of occurrence of a class.
yes. You can also prior probability of class. You guys can also try out on the other different types of classifiers that you have been taught till now. Decision tree and K-mean has also already been done. Lasso and ridge regression with some different data sets within the same framework of pipeline, grid search, and K-fold optimization. Yeah, so when you go to decision tree, you have a lot of different parameters also. So that would be a good way to just test how grid search is working versus how it's performing when you do it manually. And yeah, so that would be it what I wanted to cover. And if you guys have doubts or if you have any other thing to share, then we can discuss that. Let's do one thing. Let's just do a quick recap of the lab session so it would be much clearer. So what was the question that we started with this lab session? If anybody can just give a hint. Anyone? Gaurav?
That whether we can use 100% of the training data.
Yeah, that was the question. On how to train your model, like how to fit, the data. And the answer and some of the things we observed was that we should not use test data to train a model. And this causes, if we fit on test data, then this causes what we call it as leakage. Fine. What was the next thing that we went into after this?
K-fold cross validation.
Yep. K-fold validation. Right. Once you have the train data, how can you utilize the train data for validation? So that led us to the whole concept of k-fold cross validation. And from k-fold cross validation, where did we go?
Stratified k-fold.
Yeah, that is just that k-fold or other variants of k-fold like stratified k-fold. That comes within the k-fold cross validation itself. But we also
We found the accuracy from each of the K folds and
yes, so all of that comes under k-fold cross validation itself. You find the average accuracy, and you choose from k-fold cross validation. You chose something that gave you the maximum accuracy. What did we choose?
Hyperparameters.
Yes, this led us to hyperparameter tuning. We call this as hyperparameter tuning or hyperparameter selection. And well, after just looking into that, we wanted a way in which we can encapsulate all these things. And to do that, we had the sklearn pipeline. And the pipeline took a parameter, which was the parameter grid. And then you finally get your model. So these were the things that we covered up the lab session, and yeah, that would be it. We also covered logistic regression in sklearn. Yeah, that would be it, guys. If you have any doubts, then please let me know.
Sir, could you please open up that notebook once again, that parameters part? Yes, sir. Sir, here, sir, like I downloaded this notebook once again, and if I don't add this second line, LGR underscore underscore C, then, sir, I'm not getting that error, sir. But if I add this line, I'm getting the error.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, why you are getting an error and I'm not. So it might be related to the, I think, because I'm using the same thing over here, same notebook that I have shared, and I have also added that C parameter, but I'm not getting such error. I don't know. Maybe it might be due to the way this data is partitioned within K4 because it's partitioning it randomly. So it could be that it should not happen because it hasn't happened for me and also for some other students. So I'll look into it and see what I can find.
Okay, sir.
Are there any other doubts, guys? Right, so that should be it for today's lab session. Let's stop sharing the screen.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, if you have any doubts, then just post it in the channel. I'll look into that.